Hello and welcome back to Pitch Perfect, Haters TV's women's football show. I'm Ayisha Gulati and I am joined by Gurav and Jamie Spangher. We have an exciting show for you where we'll be, of course, reviewing the weekend's FA Cup final. Chelsea won, you've probably heard by now, and they completed that domestic treble. We'll also be previewing this weekend's Champions League final where Arsenal are set to face Barcelona. We've got some really exciting player exclusive manager post-match interviews, so stay tuned. We've also got some exciting news in that Haters TV have launched memberships this week. So do click on our YouTube channel to find out more about those membership options. You get amazing behind the scenes access, early clips, all sorts. Take a look and find out more and become a member and join the Haters TV family. Well, without further ado, we will get started because it was an eventful weekend where Chelsea faced Man United in the FA Cup final. Of course, they defeated Man United. They completed that domestic treble. Unrivaled, it said, on the back of the flags that they were all wearing. And before we talk about that match, let's talk about Sonia's reaction. We caught up with Sonia Bompastor following the match on yesterday on Sunday, and here's what she had to say about Chelsea's performance.
Yeah. Feelings are great. Sometimes difficult to describe them with some words, but it feels really great. You know, when you again, this season has been tough. When you are able to achieve a treble and domestically to be as much dominant as we have been, I think you really need to enjoy that. Again, I think all the credit to my players because, again, today they performed really well. I think we had a strong performance. So, we just showed our mentality, our values in this game. And I think to be able to end the season in almost a perfect scenario. We won. We were playing in Wembley. Stadium was almost sold out and we had a strong performance, a strong result, I think, against a strong opponent. That's almost the ideal way to end the season.
Yes, Sonia talking there on the back of winning that domestic treble. I'm saying domestic treble. Is it a real treble? Anyway, of course, an amazing achievement for Chelsea there. Let's talk about the game. What was your take on the game? Of course, it was 3-0. Do you think that reflected the scoreline? Jamie, I'll come to you first. I know you were there.
Yeah, I was there in the press box. And honestly, I thought United started well. I think that they did look composed off the mark. We all expected Chelsea to win, let's be honest. But I do think United did look composed. And then as soon as that penalty goes Sandy Baltimore's way, it's a really, really just like a bit of a brainless foul from Celine Bizet. It shows kind of an inexperience and the fact that she's still a young player on Erin Cuthbert. That penalty, they unraveled after that. They completely lost their momentum. And I think Chelsea, when they've got players like Vika Captain who makes an immediate impact off the bench. They've got these impact subs. You got Nuskin coming on, Gurav coming on. United just looked absolutely disheveled. Obviously, an injury to Millie Turner did not help them as well defensively because they looked like they were lost for their structure. So it was a common case of the Chelseas, I think, this season where they know how to break teams down, especially teams that don't have the same depth as they do.
And you mentioned unraveled there. It's like unraveled versus unrivaled, right?
Exactly, yeah. Exactly, yeah.
And we will, of course, talk about the Toone saga a bit later on. But Uma, what was your take on the game?
It was such a strange one because we were talking not that long ago about United and how much they turned up for that Manchester derby, and there was so much spirit in that performance against City, the way they came back. I know it ended in a draw, but it felt like such a United win. Just didn't feel like they ever really wanted it as much yesterday at Wembley. It was strange. I mean, obviously, I know how good Chelsea are, but like we've been saying, I know they've gone unbeaten, but they haven't seemed kind of as dominant as they've seemed in some seasons in the past. And I just think United, other than that Dominic Janssen shot kind of early in the first half, it didn't feel like they ever really were going to score. And like you said, they completely capitulated after the penalty. But by the way, Sandy Baltimore, I think I might have said last week that she was my player of the season. And then, going and getting 2 goals and an assist. Great for her. I mean, amazing performance. But I think the team performance was great. Erin Cuthbert, I know, got player of the match. And I think you could have given it to any number of them because they were just so strong. And good for Sonia Bompastor. But like she said after the game, now they're just kind of on to the next thing, which really for them is Europe now, I think.
Yeah, so true. Sandy Baltimore was incredible. Nathalie,
Unbelievable.
Bjorn,
So
post-match was full of praise for her. I'm sure they all were. Like you say, Erin Cuthbert was the player who got player of the match. It felt after that penalty that Chelsea just became a bit more Chelsea. I thought Kat Macario injected quite a lot of energy when she came on. And yeah, it said that United had 2 shots on target, but honestly, I was racking my brain to remember when they happened. It was a little bit lackluster from United. I also caught up with Lucy Bronze following the match. We mentioned there, of course, the next thing is Europe, and some of the players, whilst being happy with obtaining that domestic treble, really wanted Champions League, and they will continue to fight for Champions League. And that was something I spoke with Lucy about after the match.
Lucy, congratulations. Treble, undefeated. Does it get much better than that?
Yeah. Could be slightly better, but domestically, no. Domestically, I mean, unbeaten. I think it's just unbelievable, unprecedented. To have that level of consistency throughout the season from start to finish is amazing. Using so many different players, peaking at different times and adding to the team. Yeah, it's been amazing to top it off, to finish at Wembley and have a game like we did today. I thought we did really well, especially with all the goals that we scored towards the end of the game. It was a good performance and really a good way to sign off the season.
Yeah. Ask, have you got a highlight from the season personally?
Personally? I think I enjoyed when we won 3-0 at Stamford Bridge. I think the Stamford Bridge games have been quite good in the league. Arsenal game there, the City game, that was good fun. A couple, but I guess winning the trophies is the main thing. I think last weekend was amazing. To finish at Stamford Bridge and have the celebrations there with all the fans was really good fun. And then to finish today as well.
Do you want more matches at Stamford Bridge next season?
Yeah, I hope so.
And what are you going to do to celebrate tonight? Late night? No curfew?
Yeah, no curfew. We've got all our family and friends down. We can stay out as late as we want, but I think I'm quite tired, to be honest. We get to celebrate everything.
I'm not surprised she's tired. She has been going full throttle all season. It was great to catch up with Lucy and some of the other Chelsea girls yesterday as well. But for a bit of context, I was waiting in the mix zone along with some other journalists following the match. And I think it took about 2 hours from full time to us actually managing to speak to them because they were just having such a good time in the dressing room, lapping up the celebrations. I mean, who can blame them? Enjoy it. Like, I think yesterday really was the day that they were able to enjoy it. Even last week, there was an apparent curfew because they were, heading the game for yesterday. But yeah, now it's just enjoy it. I'm sure there'll be some sore heads with some of the Chelsea lot today, and rightly so. But yeah, so we've spoken about Chelsea a lot this season. I think the main talking point from a United perspective yesterday was, of course, Ella Toone not starting. Now, maybe before we talk about it, let's hear from Marc Skinner about his decision to leave out Ella Toone from his starting lineup.
By the way, guys, you don't have to say commiserations. It's fine. I get it. We lost.
Can I just ask about Ella Toone? Obviously, she wasn't in the starting 11. What was the thinking behind that one?
Well, if you watch Chelsea, and we've played them 3 times, when they play Cuthbert, it's to boot our midfielders. And she's a much better player than that. She's a great player, but they try and physically dominate you in midfield. So I felt that if we started the game without physically matching them, then I felt that we wouldn't have a foothold in the game. It's pretty balanced first half. I know they had a bit of territory, and we had to defend, but I don't think either keeper really had to do that much. So it was about balancing for the right time. So what I didn't like against Arsenal, was that we didn't have much change. There wasn't nothing to come into the game, so it couldn't really make us better. It was nothing. It wasn't personal. It was more about the right opportunity to change the game, and I felt that Toone could do that from the second half. So just so happens at half time we take an injury to Millie and she has to come out, so we have to adapt anyway. So but it was more about game plan. It's very difficult to go toe to toe with Chelsea, especially in the final. So we had to try and find the ability to adapt the game and change it. So that's the sole reason, tactical.
Nothing personal, he said. Fair enough. Not every player can start. What do you guys think? From my perspective, I was like, Ella Toone loves a goal at Wembley. Uma?
Honestly, you're just thinking, what were you thinking, Mark? I mean, and also at that point, surely if you're in the press conference and you've just lost and you've had a performance like that and you didn't play Ella Toone, just own up and be like, you know what, guys, I made a mistake. I don't know what I was thinking. I should have played Ella Toone because, like you said, she scored in the FA Cup final last year. She scored the winning, in the final of the Euros. She loves a goal at Wembley, but also, how are you going to go up against a team like Chelsea without a player like Ella Toone, who has been running your show the entire season? And I don't know what he was trying to say about her physicality. Is he implying that Ella Toone isn't a physical player? I've never heard that before. I don't think that that's a fair assessment of her play. I think she'll have been absolutely fuming that she didn't start. I know she didn't come on and make the biggest difference, but I think mentally, as a player, if you haven't been started, your manager hasn't put that trust in you, suddenly your head's just gone. And she's had a difficult season personally as well. So I think to not start in that final after everything she's done for the club this season, I'd be heartbroken if I was her.
Yeah, I'll play devil's advocate a little bit because I can understand. I think that the factor of Ella Toone is such a big moment player, and she's so good at harnessing that energy, especially under the arch of Wembley Stadium. So I understand. I think leaving her out, I even said to you, Ayisha, I was like, that is so confusing when the lineups came out. But 2 weeks ago, they played the same fixture at Lee Sports Village. She did not start that game. The midfield had Grace Clinton, and I completely agree. If you are going to beat Chelsea, you need to win the physical midfield battle because they're so good physically. And Grace Clinton is just a more physically dominant player than her. You're not going to bring out Hinata Miyazawa. You're not going to bring out Dom Janssen because in the pivot, you need some sort of element of control. So I understand. And I've spoke to a lot of United fans after the game and they said, look, I understand that Toone didn't start. It makes sense. And I don't think Ella Toone did enough to come on and show why she should have started. I think that she's been really, really good off the bench this season. She's done her work. It's been a really hard season for her personally. Like you said, she's had a disjointed campaign. But if I was Marc Skinner looking at that Chelsea midfield where you've got Maya Ramirez leading the line in the striker, so physical. Erin Cuthbert's so physical. These players aren't technical players. They're physical players. So you need to play the physical game. So I could understand why it happened. I thought that Ella Toone came on, she had one shot on goal, and then otherwise she was pretty anonymous. So I don't think she was the game changer, and I would have done the same thing.
Is it a fair assessment though? Because like you say, it's that kind of, she was probably expecting to start, I would have thought. That's not an excuse because any player should then, when they're actually given that moment, they should of course take it. But don't want to single her out. Nobody took a moment yesterday.
Yeah, exactly right.
No, it was there for anyone to go and make a name for themselves.
And what you said, I think it was a really good point in the fact that Elizabeth Toland, she's an amazing striker. She had no service. And because they played so defensively, that was a weakness. They had no attacking midfielder to conjoin those lines. So yeah, in that way, Ella Toone's absence was definitely
this is why I think, because I think the one thing that Ella Toone does bring every single time, and I feel like I'm quite harsh on Ella Toone sometimes because I do think she can be quite sloppy in possession. But the one thing she brings every single time she's on that pitch is passion.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think you knew that was something she was going to bring yesterday if she'd started, because she wanted it so badly.
And that is such a big thing at an occasion like Wembley, where the United end yesterday. Props to whoever was in that United end, because they were really bringing it, making the noise throughout. And it's a shame they had nothing proper to cheer about. But they were great again for a sort of third year in a row. So props to them. The other hot topic of Marc Skinner's press conference was the fact that the owners of Man United were not there. And of course, we had the opposite for Chelsea. I believe he got asked so many questions that they had to actually ask in the press conference for them to stop asking about that. Jamie, you were in that press conference.
It was very, very awkward. Can I be honest? I think when you saw Chelsea had everyone there, they had every owner there. They had obviously had Alexis and Serena Williams there. And then you look up and you know that Sir Jim's not there. And there was this massive backlash and outcry last season. Arsenal were playing Man United at Old Trafford in the Premier League. They lost that game in a dead rubber season where in the Premier League it was done for Man United. Sir Jim was there. Yesterday, absolutely no reason for him to be anywhere but that FA Cup final. He should have been there last year even, but he wasn't there again. And I just feel like when you're making all these offhanded comments where you're saying we're not prioritizing the women's team, and then to double down and your absence to be so sorely felt at Wembley Stadium, it's so poor. And it shows, like, it was so awkward. The press officer had to say, no more questions, like, that's enough. And then Sonia Bompastor said something about the Chelsea owners were there, and she knew that as a woman in the women's game, she was at the right club. And that just sums it up.
It really does, yeah. And I think you mentioned Serena Williams there. Maybe there might be some viewers who are watching who might not know about that story. Does one of you want to take the floor on that in terms of what's happened?
Yeah, so her husband, the founder of Reddit, amazing. What a family, by the way. Honestly, founder of Reddit and Serena Williams.
Yeah, they walked through the mix zone yesterday, and actually, I think we were a bit more excited about that than any of the Chelsea or Man United players walking through.
She looks great, by the way. She had this beautiful Chelsea blue skirt on, which I thought was great. But yeah, he's obviously purchased, they believe, I think, an 8 to 10% stake in Chelsea Women, as if they needed any more backing. But he's got this kind of track record of investing, obviously, in Angel City and the NWSL, which became the most valuable women's sports team in the world, now owned by the Disney CEO, Bob Iger, of course. But he's one of those guys who came into the women's game when nobody else was believing in it. And he said, you know what, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make it work. And he's proved to everyone that he can. And now he's earned that right to come into a club like Chelsea, who do win every single season. And he's saying, I'm going to take them to the next level. And I loved that Sonia Bompastor said, this could be the thing that actually brings us to that Champions League. Whether that actually happens, we'll see. But God, it's a great look for them. And to see Serena Williams and then the Chelsea women's squad, it's just like a meeting of the greatest female sports people ever.
Yeah. Sonia Bompastor was saying that she was trying to convince their kids to play football, and Serena was like, they're playing tennis. But
that might be a hard sell.
They could probably do both, knowing that.
Yeah, I know.
It's
exactly
true.
Right.
Serena Williams strikes me as the person who's just going to be good at everything.
I know.
Good investment. It's a good investment. It's not about the optics. That was the word.
Yeah,
it's a good
exactly right,
investment.
Sure.
And yeah, do we think this might lead a charge for other clubs getting invested in? Because we don't want it all to go to Chelsea.
We've been saying this, haven't we? We've been kind of saying Chelsea are leading the way and thus clubs will follow, but we haven't seen the clubs will follow yet. So you kind of hope, yes, it will make sure that these teams struggling in the WSL behind Chelsea will, obviously get a bit of a kick, but you don't know. And it's a safe investment for Alexis Ohanian. It's a good investment because, like you said, you cannot fault it. He cares about women's sports and you love to see it. We shouldn't be shying away from that, but he'll get returned. They're amazing. They're such a successful entity. So I hope that other clubs then look and say, okay, there's room to be made. And I just hate the optics of Manchester United. We don't have the finances to keep up with Chelsea. Yes, you do. You just don't want to give them to the women's team. So yeah, there's a lot to be said about that.
It's horrible because also then when you look at a team like Manchester United or Man City, they're the ones who actually need the investment, not Chelsea. But then, so Jim Ratcliffe doesn't even turn up and back his women's team on, like you say, on a day when the men aren't even playing. The
also,
men
to add to that,
relegation.
Yeah, quite. But he was in London on Friday night, so there's not even that
Watching them lose again.
Watching them lose.
And then poor Marc Skinner's made to defend it. I felt for him because it's not on him to defend it. And like he tried to back the club and say, Omar Barada was here, other important figures in the club. But Sir Jim Ratcliffe has made it so clear that he doesn't care about the women's team. And there's a part of you that thinks, is there any way that you can separate Man United women's team from being under his umbrella? Because he doesn't care. And under somebody who does care, couldn't Man United be so much more as a women's team?
Yeah, and it's so true. Like Marc Skinner is the one who, like, say what you want about him, love him or hate him. He is the one who has to bat off those questions, save face in those press conferences. It's a tough gig.
Because what's he supposed to do, right?
Yeah,
he can't exactly say, "Oh, my employer is the worst person in the world." Like, but again, like, say if you like him as a coach, you don't like him as a coach. It is. You can have the empathy that that's a terrible situation to be in.
Yeah,
definitely. Well, as a reminder, please do get involved in comments on YouTube. We also have a poll running because we're going to be previewing that Champions League final later on. So we want to hear you. We want to see you cast your votes onto whether you think Arsenal or Barcelona are going to win the Champions League this weekend. Please do get your votes in. We will be updating you on the poll along the way. In the meantime, we have got a comment with Nee is a new member. Looks like I am in squad. Welcome to the squad, Nee. Yes, as a reminder, we have haters memberships that have gone live this week. Please do check those out. I'm going to show a clip of Ella Tissier in a moment. Just from you guys, maybe a thought on her season at Man United?
Oh, she's been fantastic, hasn't she? I just think, more obviously as a player, everyone's seen what she's been capable of. But I just think as a person, it's been amazing to see her grow because I think a lot of people first got to know her when she fought her way into the England setup, perhaps more than even Man United. But it's been so great to see the way she's taken on that responsibility. And I think following Katie's LM is such a hard act, and she didn't really have any introduction to it. She was thrown straight in there, but I think she's been a great figure and such a role model as well. She's still so young herself.
So young.
Amazing to be a captain at that age. So big things for her to come, and we'll see where her future lies, whether that's at Man United or somewhere else. I don't know.
22 years old and captaining one of the biggest names in the world. And she's handled it with so much class and grace. I think she deserves her flowers. And if Marc Skinner's gotten some things wrong this season, that appointment was one that he definitely got right.
Yes. Well, speaking of Man United captain Ella Tissier, I caught up with her in the mix zone yesterday, where she discusses the gap between Man United and Chelsea.
All good. No worries.
Hi, Maya.
Thanks,
You mentioned there that you're a special team and, Champions League achievement as well.
Yeah.
What is it about you guys, the identity that has achieved that this season?
Yeah, I think it's the togetherness of the team. We play for Manchester United. It's never easy. We have the pressure on us all the time to perform, and the way that we do that is as a team and together in the spirit we have within the team. I think you see that when we drew to City and we needed that point at Old Trafford, and yeah, that was massive for us to get Champions League this season, and we obviously want to go even further, but of course this is where we're at now, and I think we can look to Chelsea, and obviously we're not going to be able to do what they do, so we've got to find a different way of doing it, and we'll make sure we do that, and I think a big part of that is togetherness of the team and the spirit and the fight to play for Man United.
A few of us were surprised not to see Ella Toone start. I don't know what you guys thought, whether she should have started.
Yeah, obviously it's a managerial decision. As a player, I don't get involved in that. I just want to try and do my best in training and make sure I'm the one that's picked as well. So, yeah, you'll have to ask Mark about that.
And just a word on the amazing crowd, more than 70,000. Your guys were bouncing, rocking the whole way through.
Yeah, they always are. We've got the best fans in the world, and we love them, and they come home and away to watch us play. And a lot of that, I think that was more of a thank you at Old Trafford to them for supporting us all season, and obviously coming here today, we've been there for the past 2 years and then this year as well, so it's a big thank you for the support that they've given us, and getting to an FA Cup final in front of that atmosphere. I see in my brother's story, it was sick. Obviously when I'm walking out I don't see it, but it's huge for us, and it's great for the family and the friends and the rest of the.
Yes, Ella Tissier there being quite sort of open and honest, like we can't do what Chelsea do, acknowledging that gap. And actually I thought something that was quite interesting yesterday was that all the players were not shy about saying, the United players weren't shy about saying that they were going to celebrate yesterday because they wanted to celebrate the season they'd had. Making Champions League football is, of course, progress from last year. They did, of course, win the FA Cup last year, but as we were saying earlier, it was only Spurs. Well, as in, that's probably me.
Sorry,
but compared to Chelsea,
yes, exactly right.
Chelsea are just another level. United have not been able to beat them in the FA Cup. They beat Spurs last year quite emphatically. But yeah, what do you think? Do you think they deserve that celebration? They should be celebrating this season.
They do, although I did find it strange that May is saying that about this gap and now, Chelsea are amazing and we can't beat them, because didn't they did beat them last season?
FA Cup semi-final.
And they completely turned them over. And you're thinking, actually, some of the performances that United have put in this season, you can beat them. I almost want to shake them and be like, you can do this.
Yeah.
They're not that much better than you. I just think on this kind of occasion, for some reason, you haven't turned up. For some reason, Man City in that second leg of the semi-final, quarter-final even, in the Champions League, they didn't turn up. Arsenal, for whatever reason, didn't quite manage to put together some of the performances. Like, if you put Arsenal second leg against Lyon up against Chelsea, they're going to completely destroy them. So I don't know what it is about going up against Chelsea. I don't think it's a matter of capability. I really don't, because I just think Chelsea have had their weaknesses this season. And we've seen that against teams like West Ham, Leicester, right? They have given up points. So if you're a team as good as Man United, you should be able to beat Chelsea.
Certainly, I completely agree. And I think you look at both league games between the two sides, 1-0 either way, and both goals on set pieces. And arguably, at least Sports Village United were the better team. They just couldn't put away their chances. I think it just comes down to experience. It comes down to age. Marc Skinner has spoken all season about wanting to build this young Manchester United team. You've got players like Anna Sandberg, like Grace Clinton, Celine Bizet. These are Elizabeth Turlin. These are young players. May Letizia is 22 and she's wearing the armband. Whereas you look at Millie Bright, who's played at World Cups, European Championships. Like, it's just it's a richness of experience and talent and age. And I think Chelsea they don't flake under pressure, because I agree with you. They haven't been this world beating side like Barcelona, for example, have been, whereas they've shown their vulnerabilities. However, when it comes to the moment, they know how to get a job done. And I don't think United are there yet. They're too young. They need more experience and they need squad depth. Chelsea have got it in abundance. United don't.
Yeah.
Well, interesting you mentioning the young players at United, because our next interview that I'm about to show you is with Rachel Williams, absolute legend of the game.
Segue.
Yeah, what a segue. Quite. Yeah, I was like, do you know this is coming? But here we go. Rachel Williams, who played her first FA Cup final 10 years ago. Yeah, another one yesterday. What a lovely person, a fab player. She was brought on off the bench yesterday. Wasn't able to be a game changer, but she gave a lovely interview with the press in the mix zone yesterday, and I was lucky enough to catch up with her. And here's what she had to say about United's season. Hi, Rachel. What is it about Chelsea that makes them so good, so unbeatable this season? And always, I guess.
Yeah, look, it's Chelsea, and it. There's been around for years now, and what Emma's built there, and now Sonia's took over. Like, they've got investors, they've got great players, and they're winners. They've got a very good mix of experienced players and young players coming through. And you know, if we don't have the money to be able to keep up with them, then we just make sure that our 1% and our players are ready to compete, and that's what we do. So that's the Chelsea way. And I've played at the club. I've been there. I've had little insight to it, and they're a big club, it's the big teams you want to beat.
And I think we were quite surprised not to see Ella Toone starting. I don't know whether you guys were as a team as well.
That's been a bit of a mix-up for us this year. Like, it's up to the staff to look at that. They'll review games, they'll see what team fits best, and like, listen, Toone is a great player. She's massive for our club, and we know that when she comes on, she can score great goals. She has such an impact, and for us, we have such togetherness as a team that everyone has to fit in that system that we play on the day, and we don't have any control over that. But what we do have control over, that we want everyone to do well, and if someone has to come off, the next person that fills their shoes will do it.
Yes, lovely to hear from Rachel. What's your take on Rachel and how long she's been around for and how great a player she is?
Club, like, she's a English football legend.
Yeah.
Like, and it was so nice in last year's FA Cup final to see her score against Spurs. Like, she's a clubman wherever she goes, wherever she's playing, she plays for the badge. I think United, Marc Skinner did make a comment during the week saying they're looking at extending her contract, which I don't think is the best idea. Not for any diss on her, but the fact that if you're going with this young philosophy, however, she's one of those, like, she's like a proper Barclaysman, you know?
Yeah. I really thought when she came on, I was thinking, oh, hang on a minute. Actually, they're just going to roll back the years to one of those classic Rachel Williams late headers or something. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. But to be fair, she is that player who kind of, you think, well, come on. And actually, maybe she can grab something at the death. But yeah, I don't know where she'd go next. But we will see if
maybe Michelle Kang's interested.
Ooh,
yeah,
she should be.
Isn't she a plasterer by trade? I think.
No way.
Yeah,
Is she really?
Yeah, and she sort of like, she doesn't want to give. She still does it, I think, outside of the football.
God.
She like loves it. Yeah.
That's so cool.
So yeah,
Amazing.
she. I'm sure she'd be happy to.
I'll give her a
get
call.
back to that. Yeah, to be fair,
Next time my
looking for
partner's
someone.
looking shady,
Yeah. No,
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. You can see
I'll
it.
fix your problems.
Yeah, she's a problem fixer.
Yeah.
Yeah, too right. Perfect job for her.
Oh.
Well, the final player interview I'm going to show you in today's show, and actually, as a reminder, you can catch all of these interviews in full on Haters TV YouTube channel. So please do check those out. Most of them are already there. Some will be dropping over the next day or so. Check them all out in full. There's some great interviews from yesterday's FA Cup final. So Chelsea, they voted their player of the season. The actual players did. So players' player of the season. They voted the lovely, wonderful Nathalie Bjorn. Brilliant defender. She's been fab for Chelsea, and it was nice to get to see her get recognition from her teammates. But yes, I caught up with her in the mix zone yesterday following the match.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Nat. You told me earlier this week you were so excited for your first time at Wembley. Did it live up to the expectations?
Yeah, it really did. On the warm-up, I was thinking to myself, I love this. This is amazing to play in front of so many fans and having family here and like, I mean, this stadium is amazing, and I'm very happy to experience to play here, and then winning, of course, is just it's an amazing feeling.
Can you describe that feeling in I guess, in one word of all those fans, more than 70,000 people out here today?
I would say goosebumps. It's like when you're standing in the tunnel going out and you're focused, you're ready, you have the adrenaline on, and just like going out to this ocean of blue, and also like to play this game, and when we score, it's an amazing feeling because you can hear our fans and you can hear their fans being quiet. It's just, I love this type of games.
And Sandy was amazing today. 2 goals, assists. What has she added to this Chelsea team this season?
No, but she's been a brilliant player for us. I think she adds something that we don't really have. I think she's good on the ball. She's got good 1v1. She's good with both feet. She's a great finisher. I think overall she's a really, really good football player, and I think that she had a really good first season in England.
And no curfew tonight?
No curfew tonight. I heard Millie said that, so I was like, okay, let's go.
Good. You're well deserved. Enjoy the celebration.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Lovely to hear from Nathalie there. And what really struck me was it was her first time at Wembley. She said goosebumps. Oh, that's like so lovely, right?
Yeah.
So many fans there yesterday, like absolutely rocking Wembley. Ollie Murs, guys. You take on Ollie Murs?
I
was enjoy it.
It's great. I just wanted more songs.
Yeah,
I
me
really
too.
like Ollie Murs.
Yeah,
It took me
fair.
back to like year 6 disco. But
Well, he was playing at Wembley Arena, so you should have got a ticket for that and hopped over.
Well, I was busy doing the final.
I feel like they needed to turn his mic up though. I was
Yeah.
This is true. Ollie,
We want to hear.
I want to hear
the
you,
beauty
Ollie.
of Ollie Murs'
Yeah,
voice.
exactly right.
I felt bad for the players because I bet they weren't allowed to listen to Ollie Murs right before they went on the pitch.
I
They're probably
saw a
doing something like
video
Zen.
of Marc Skinner and Ella
Oh,
Tissier
yeah.
trying to look over the insurance.
I thought they might be trying to do that.
He's a Man United fan though, so surely they could get some sort of like private
right.
Ollie Murs concert at some point.
Invite
Maybe.
Uma.
Maybe at the barbecue that Man United are planning on hosting.
The barbecue.
Yeah, the barbecue.
I don't think Marc Skinner will be invited to that one.
Well, talking of Ollie Murs, we're going to skip a beat into the preview for this coming weekend's final, which is, of course, the Champions League final. It feels like we've been waiting a while for this. We were like doing the review of it however many weeks ago, and now it's coming up, and Lisbon is this weekend, and we're all going to be there. So
Buzzing.
yeah, what can we expect, Uma?
Well, Arsenal are going to win, obviously. I've been on this delusional train since God knows how long now. Remember, I booked my tickets before the Lyon game. So, no, I'm excited either way. I just hope we get a good game, honestly. I want Arsenal to stand up there and be counted when it comes to the final. And I just want them to be able to walk away from it saying, you know what, we gave it our all and we have no regrets about it. And, you know, I work with Leanne Saunderson, who won, obviously, the Champions League back in 2006-07. And she's just been reflecting the last couple of days on what a special experience that was for her. And I think, obviously, you know, they won it at Boreham Wood, which was, you know, obviously still a great occasion, but to win it there and then to go to Lisbon now, and if Arsenal are able to do it, how magical that will be for the club. But for so many who came before, I think, to have said, you know, we kind of did these things so that you could get to a point where you can do this now, hopefully in front of a huge crowd, something that will get the attention of the whole world of football, I hope. And yeah, fingers crossed, of course. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to the occasion.
Yeah, certainly. Like you said, it's just these building blocks that 07 group has built for this Arsenal team going forward. And they have built the foundation of English women's football, like Arsenal being the pioneers. So I'm with you. They need to go and they just need to make a showing of themselves, prove what they can do, because they are the underdogs. No one is going to Lisbon expecting them to win. And if they don't win, people aren't going to be saying that they've flopped out of a massive game. I just think it's 90 minutes. It's a final. Anything can happen in these settings. However, like, it's Barcelona, right? They could go for a three-peat in the Champions League. They've been unbelievable. You've got players like Eva Payor, who's just gone and scored 43 goals in a season. She's beaten this like club record. Then you've got Bonmati, Pateas, and Patry. You've got 100 goals and assists between them. Like, these are the best players in the absolute world right now. But again, Uma, it's a final. Anything can happen in a final, but I just hope it's a close game. I hope it's a good game, and I'm so excited to go to Lisbon.
Yes, well, we have some comments coming in. Rita Rankinen says, Arsenal have to play to the best of their ability. We've got a comment from Nee who says, what do Arsenal have to do to beat Barcelona? So I'll throw that to you guys.
They're going to have to play out of their skin,
Yeah.
obviously. But I just think they need to channel the energy that they've had. Actually, in the Champions League, I think is the best time that they've demonstrated it. Certainly that second leg against Lyon. I think they need to be defensively sound. And, hopefully if Daphne van Domselaar is up for it and if she's back to top form, then she's going to be a huge part of that, because I do think on her day, she's a great keeper and it's really hard to get past her. That defensive line, could be key, I think. And we've seen some mixed performances from some of that back line throughout this season. Again, though, on their day, players like Katie McCabe, Steph Catley, they can do it all. They can be at the back and they can make things happen up front. And then, of course, you're looking to the likes of Russo, Beth Mead. I just think they need to play their game, because I think the trap that Chelsea fell into was that they allowed Barcelona to dictate it slightly too much. I think they gave them too much respect. It's ironic because that's what teams normally do to Chelsea. So Arsenal just have to pretend that they're playing like a team that they know nothing about. Sometimes that's what you have to do in a final.
Certainly, they need to play their football. They need to go there and they need to play their football and they need to play as a team. I think Barcelona have this ability to rely on individuals because they're so good at separate entities, but they need to play as a team, Arsenal, because their standout player this season has been Mariona Caldente. She's been the magic maker, but no one knows Mariona Caldente more than Barcelona. So everyone else needs to step up. Renee Slegers needs to back herself. And I do think there's an element in this final where Sonia Bompastor had obviously come up against Barcelona as a Lyon manager in last final. She's come up as a Chelsea manager. She's so experienced and she knows the stage that she almost has to overthink everything she does. Renee Slegers was not a head coach 8 months ago. She's in the dugout in her first Champions League final ever as a very young manager. She's only a year older than the club captain, Kim Little. So she can kind of express herself. The team can express themselves. No one is expecting anything of them. And I think if that FA Cup, the men's FA Cup final taught us anything, it's that the underdog can make things happen in a final. So I hope they channel
something in the air.
Their Crystal Palace. Exactly right. The year of the underdog. Hopefully not Tottenham, but the year of the underdog.
Well, we've got a comment from Catherine who says, to be fair, I'm not an Arsenal fan, but I have this feeling about them. I just think they are going to do it. Lucky666 disagrees. Barcelona are going to win by a cricket score.
Oh no.
Your name's Lucky.
Yeah. So we've got I think this is we've got the scores on the doors for the poll as it stands. I said who is going to win the Champions League final. Currently, Barcelona on 69% and Arsenal on 31%. You've still got a few more minutes to get your votes in. So do vote if you disagree or if you agree. Keep voting. I would love to hear what you have to say. Now, I'm going to come to you guys and ask you, because we know we've got some great players in the Arsenal team and in the Barcelona team. I want a combined 5-a-side, but... You're going to have to do this together. Okay. So I'm going to ask for a player from Uma and then a player from you and then do that again.
Okay. And I can pick either Barca or Arsenal.
Yeah. Pick either Barca or Arsenal.
Okay, come on.
Okay. Because I've just been singing her praises, I'll go with Daphne van Domselaar because I want her in goal.
Yeah,
I would.
She's the better goalkeeper.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Okay, I'm going to go Eva Payor, definitely up front.
Nice.
All right, we can't really leave her out, can we? Aitana Bonmati's got to be in there. I mean,
I'll go for another right back, and I'll just put a spanner in the works. I'm going to go Emily Fox.
Oh, I like it. Okay, so there's one more spot in the 5-a-side team. What I'm going to do, I don't think this is going to work, but I'm going to do a 3-2-1, and I want you both to say it at the same time, and let's see if it's the same person. It's probably not going to be. In which case, I will ask you to make your arguments, and then I will decide.
Okay. Are we trying to get the same person?
Yeah, why not? I could try to be telepathic.
Okay.
So we've got a pretty solid voice.
I don't know though.
I mean,
she's a mixed bag.
She's a
bit,
yeah.
It's gonna be like an Arsenal squad player or something. Okay, ready? We go to Aggie Man.
Katie Wing.
Okay, you ready? Go. 3, 2, 1. Alexia Putellas. Okay.
Oh, okay. So we had a Russo and Putellas.
Yeah,
I don't mind that. That's not that different, to be fair.
Yeah.
Can you make your case?
Do you know what? I'm biased because I chatted to Russo earlier this week, and I just think that she's going to score the winning goal in the final.
She's got the hunger.
I feel like she's the kind of player who's going to keep her calm, and I don't think she's going to be fazed by this kind of occasion. I think also we're looking at somebody who's got a story in this. And also, when you look at how she came from Man United, I think to make that brave move for her career, she's obviously a lioness. And I think also factoring in, I know it's not England versus Spain, but there's a lot of Spanish players in the Barcelona team, and there's a couple of English players in the Arsenal team. So I do think maybe that mentality of we have to beat them at the Euros as well is going to come into it.
Yeah.
I think that could give her a huge psychological edge. So for me, yeah, I want her up top.
Okay.
Interesting.
And you've gone with Patea.
Yeah, I've gone with Patea. She's two-time Ballon d'Or winner. Like,
Yeah, obviously on paper.
She's so good. And honestly, like she did her ACL obviously a couple of years ago, and that last season she was still amazing, but she struggled like to get back to her form. This season she's been Barcelona's best player. So I just think, yeah, you can't discount Alexia Putellas.
I can't believe no one has said Caldente.
Yeah,
I think what you said earlier, though, I'm a little bit worried about Caldente in this final because of what you said about the fact that Barcelona will know her, they'll know how you play. Also,
Yeah.
you mentioned
But I think that
how
could be
they
a-
cheered for her, right?
Yeah.
Scoring. I'm scared now. I'm thinking, oh, they've got a plan to take her out or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would see it in a positive way that she knows almost how to
Yeah,
undo
true.
Barcelona. But okay, I'm going to cast my vote. I'm going to go with Russo just
Yeah,
because
English bias.
Yeah, English bias. I'm not even going to try and deny that. It's English bias.
Ballon d'Ors. Yeah, true. That's true.
Yes, keep voting. We've got a few more minutes. And while I wait for the final results to come in on the poll, I'm going to ask you another question. We're all going to be in Lisbon. What are you most excited about other than the football? Because, of course, that is the main event.
We were trying to think about this earlier, weren't we?
Yeah.
Portuguese food, and all we could come up with was pastel de natas.
I'm so excited. I've gotten a few recommendations as well
Have
from
you?
people. I'll
You'll
send
have
them
to share
over.
the list.
Yeah, I'll send them
I've
over.
heard some good. Apparently, there's a nice national park that's near Lisbon, which
Nice.
is not like
Nice.
English national park. It's like beachy national park vibes. So
Nice.
that'll be fun.
You're going to be doing a walking tour?
I'm going to be doing a walking tour. If Arsenal win
Okay.
on the Sunday morning, though, I am going to be like, I don't know what state I'll be in for a walking tour. However, 10 a.m. Guys, come along.
You're doing the walking
I'm
tour on
doing
the
the walking tour.
Sunday.
Yeah, I don't have
Oh.
time on Saturday. It's
I
pre-game.
think she's made a prediction on who she thinks is going to win. Just say it.
I'm not planning
You've
to
got
go to
that. You've got that
Vegas.
Barcelona kit hanging behind your head.
I've already
and
booked my
it's-
walking tour. Like, I'm expecting to be on the waters all night.
I planned a full night out.
I was going to say she's planned which club she's going to on the Saturday night, and you planned a Sunday morning walking tour.
You come out and wave at you. You'll see me at the hotel at 10 a.m. just ready for my walking tour. Oh no.
Oh well, clubs or walking tours or pastel de natas. It's going to be a great weekend in Lisbon. I will give you the final scores of our poll. Barcelona 73%
Not convinced
and
anyone.
Arsenal 27%. So
don't know
there you
that.
have it. Are we right? Are you guys right? Who's right? Who's going to win? Only time will tell. Of course, that final being played in Lisbon this Saturday. Very exciting. Make sure you tune in. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be a banger. Now, Pitch Perfect is going on a slightly short break because, well, we're going to be traveling back from Lisbon next weekend, and then we're just life taking a bit of time off, just short time off after the season before we are straight back to it for all Euros build up. So a date for your diaries, the 9th of June, we will be back for another Pitch Perfect, and then we will do weekly Mondays again until we head out to the Euros, where we will continue bringing you all the content that you love here at Haters. So in the meantime, please do continue to check out all our social media, our YouTube channel, Haters TV. As a reminder, our memberships have gone live. Please do become a member. Join the Haters TV squad. We would love to see you there. You'll get amazing access to lots of exclusives, behind the scenes content. It's going to be brilliant, especially once we're over in Switzerland. It's going to really ramp up and going to be some great content on there. So please do get involved. The only thing left for me to say is thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Uma. It's been a great show. Lovely to have you. I will see you in Lisbon.
Yeah, you will.
See all of
in
you
Lisbon.
guys in Lisbon, whoever's going. And yeah, we'll catch you very soon. See you back here June the 9th. Thanks for watching.